So, hello, welcome. My name is Dr. Tyna Moore. Welcome to our webinar, our free webinar today. We did this yesterday and there was such popular demand of people who couldn't make it, so we're redoing it today. So we've got a whole nother group of people online and we're going to go through the same information. So I'm really excited that you're all here. Thank you for joining us. And it's been a good turnout so far. So this is the Pain Free and Lean 2016 free intro webinar. And what I hope to accomplish here is just to give you guys, we only have 1 hour, so I'm hoping to give you guys a good overview of some tactics that I've used personally and that I've used on countless patients with success. So the first thing I would like to start off with is gratitude. It's something that I practice, and it really is a practice. You have to do it every day, and I've been doing it a lot more this year, and it's made a huge impact in my life. So what are you most grateful for from the past year of 2015? And let me know by posting to Twitter at Dr. Tyna. That's my Twitter feed, and it's also my Twitter or my Instagram feed. So go ahead and post there what you're most grateful for in 2015. And I will try to pull it up and see if we can't go through some of those later on. And then please share this right now if you can. There's a way to invite people. You've got the webinar ID. Please go ahead and share this with anyone who this might be helpful for, because we'd love to have them join us, even if they come in late. There's going to be valuable information. Anyone who has pain or weight loss issues, there's going to be good information here for them. So thank you for joining me today. I've got my assistant and the personal trainer of my clinic, Hannah, Kelly. She's going to come say hi.
Hello.
So she's going to be assisting today, helping answer some of your questions. She's going to be fielding questions. She's going to help with the polls, and she's going to shine some light on some of these subjects for us and give us the expert opinion and view. So this is my clinic, and this is me with my favorite thing, the barbell. It's my therapy. I'm Dr. Tyna Moore. A little bit about me: I am a naturopathic physician and a chiropractor as well. What that means is, what does a naturopathic physician do? I get that question a lot, and really all it is the clinical application of common sense. That's how I describe it to people. Naturopathic physicians are trained in a 4-year medical program, and many do residencies, and we are board certified in various states throughout the country and throughout the world. We are different than, there are people who call themselves naturopaths who are not board certified and they've done some kind of online program. Do not confuse the two. We are actually physicians. In the state of Oregon, I have full ability to prescribe, to do minor surgery, all kinds of things. What we strive to do is find the root cause for patients. We're looking to figure out why a patient is presenting the way that they're presenting. So, for example, asthma is a big one. Do you need an inhaler if you have asthma? Likely you might need to use an inhaler. But what I'm interested in as a naturopathic physician is why your body is causing you to have these symptoms. So why are your lungs clamping down on you? What is going on with your immune system that's causing that to happen for you? Why is your blood pressure high? Why are these things happening? So our goal as naturopathic physicians is to find the root cause of what people are suffering with. I'm also an avid strength training person. I love lifting weights. I love doing Pilates. I love working out. I have a very strong rehab background. As a chiropractor, we're trained very well in rehabilitation, and I have a Pilates certification in rehab. So we do a lot of that around here. I've helped thousands of patients over the years. My education is really unique, I feel, because I didn't just do one 4-year medical program and then do the other. I did them concurrently. And so when I was learning about disease processes, I was learning them from both sides. I was learning about them from looking at x-rays and the bone structure in chiropractic college, and I was learning about them from symptoms and lab values from the naturopathic side. And so I feel the way that I come at patients and the way I come at disease processes is really unique. I've figured out over the years that my brain works pretty differently than a lot of my colleagues, and I'm hoping to share this information with you today. So I went to school for both concurrently. It was crazy. My parents can attest to how crazy that was. And, I was a single mom going through it. So I went through a bit of hell. So since opening my practice, I've helped thousands of people with pain regain their control of their lives. This stuff is really basic, and I don't want you to shoot the messenger because sometimes it's so basic that people tend to ignore it. So what we're going to go through today is guidelines that I've used successfully, that I do every day, and things that I've helped patients with. It's what we preach. We walk the talk around here. My mission with this and with all of my webinars is I really am tired of doing medicine one-on-one with each patient. And I don't see why people need to fly in or come in and spend the money to see me one-on-one for an hour when I could get this information out to millions of people and touch millions of lives with the principles of naturopathic medicine to help decrease pain and increase quality of life for patients. That's my goal. And ultimately, we just want to have a lot of fun with it. So we're trying to get the word out in a way that is affordable and attainable to people and create a lot of value for you. So our agenda today, we only have an hour. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my story. I'm going to give you some truth bombs along the way, things that you can do at home, and how can you apply these to your daily life and make them work for you. So first, a little housekeeping. It would be great if you could turn off your cell phone or silence it, put it on airplane mode so you're not distracted by it. Close the door and pull out a notepad because you're likely going to get some information here that you want to write down, or you're going to come up with questions that you'd like to ask us, and we're going to be fielding questions at the end. So a quick poll, I'm going to put it up here. How many of you suffer from chronic pain? And it should pop up. Let's see, here we go. So I'll leave it up for about a minute and you guys can answer and we'll see what people are saying. So everyone go ahead and vote. Oh, if you need to raise your hand for some reason, there's a little hand button on your panel, your control panel, and then you can just type into a box, or I'm sorry, select one of these options here for the poll. So a lot of people are saying yes. Some are saying constantly, some are saying sometimes. A lot of people are not answering, so possibly they don't have chronic pain. But if you live with chronic pain like I do, it is I'm going to close the poll. It's a whole different world. And I didn't have chronic pain until I was a tough girl and I did a lot of damage to my body as a gymnast. And I think it wasn't until I was about in my 30s and I started suffering from chronic pain after a car accident and stress and childbirth and a whole lot of other things. So I live this. I know how this picture really encompasses how I have felt in the past where everything hurts. So for roughly about 15 years, I've been dealing with chronic pain. It started with the pregnancy of this little lady. This is my daughter, who is 15 right now, and she's almost 16. And she loves this little hat. She won't take it off. So anyway, ever since I was pregnant with her, that hormonal surge that came with pregnancy really changed my life, changed my immune system, and changed my pain response to things. I have, along the way, looking for answers. I think the reason I have done such extensive education personally is because I was looking for answers. I've studied with some of the best minds in medicine, honestly. My specialty in my practice is no longer general naturopathic care or hormones or dealing in that capacity. I do regenerative injection therapies. And if you've been to my website, you know what I do. I work with prolotherapy and PRP and stem cells. And I've had some great mentorship in that area. And that is all pain. I get a lot of patients who come to me for pain. I get a lot of referrals from other doctors, pain patients. And I'm very quick to identify right off the bat if this is someone that has biomechanical pain that I can help with injections, or are they severely deconditioned and they need rehab and they need strength training, or is this a systemic inflammatory process? Is something in their body causing them just to present with pain? 1 out of 5 to 7 people present to any doctor's offices in the world for pain. So knowing how to deal with pain is a pretty big deal if you want to be successful, and not just giving a painkiller or a muscle relaxant or some kind of anti-inflammatory, but really figuring out why if someone comes in and they have both knees hurting or both hips hurting or both wrists hurting, that's probably something systemic. And we need to sort that out for them and help them get on the path to wellness and healing. Just to back up, I trained with Dr. Rick Marinelli. If you are a naturopath or you know anything about naturopathy and you don't know his name, I would encourage you to find out. He was a big deal. He brought into light naturopathic pain management over the past 30 years. He passed away this time of year in 2013, and he was my mentor and friend for 20 years, and I took over his practice. So I learned a lot from him. If there was anyone who got to pick his brain consistently, it was me. And I learned a lot about dealing with pain and how to come at it from a lot of various angles. So there's never any one right answer. It's cumulative, and it's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So what I've come to find is that the answers are very simple, and I'm going to share the highlights with you today. Let me move my video here. So we only have an hour, so we've got to be quick and efficient. And I'm going to walk you through how you can take action in your day and take control of your life in a few short months. I say a few short months because I never guarantee that I can get somebody completely out of pain, but I can turn down the dial. My goal is always to turn down the dial and to get their pain under control, because people who have pain live in fear. The same things that control your pain are the same things that control stubborn weight that won't come off. And so we're going to discuss both today. But we only have an hour, so this is a quick overview. So how many days to pain-free and lean? Patients ask this all the time. How long is this going to take? It's a great question. And I share them this information. There's an old naturopathic mantra and a really big reality check, and that is, for every year that you've had pain or any condition, it will take at least a month to get a handle on it. So for me, when I was at my lowest point, it took me about 9 months to get to a point where I felt like I was, I went from a 9 or 10 out of 10 pain on the pain scale down to a 3 or 4 and got it under control and manageable. And that's not to say it doesn't flare here and there, but I know how to handle it now. I know what steps to take. But the important thing is that it can be done. People do not need to live in this. People get caught up in their pain, and they get caught up in their stubborn weight gain they can't get off. And that's their story. And that's how they identify. And they don't feel like there's any hope. They feel like that is just the downward spiral, and they're going to persist that way. So it can be done. Don't give up on yourself. And we hope to be cheerleaders for you and get you motivated. So it all starts with a story, and I'll share mine with you a little bit. I was a very sick kid. I started out as a very sick kid. I was strong. I was a gymnast, but I had all kinds of immune stuff going on. I spent a lot of time in and out of specialist offices. I got to know doctors very well. And I remember being 5 years old and being held down on the table by 3 different people, one of them being my mom, and them sticking some kind of vacuum up my nose to get the snot out of my sinuses. And I remember thinking very clearly that there has got to be a better way. So I strive every day to find a better way. And I do think that when it comes to allopathic medicine, there are other options. And I hear this from patients all the time. I met a woman last night who was complaining about her hormones, a young woman, and I was trying to get across to her that there are other options and to find a good naturopath or a good functional medicine doctor. So after the birth of my daughter, I was very sick. I think the hormonal surge that came with that really derailed me. And I spent the next decade really in a world of hurt, not feeling well. My immune system kind of went all over the place. A lot of autoimmune disease cropped up. So in my journey to find answers, and on how to mitigate my own pain and take control back of my life, keep my weight in balance. My weight was all over the map. I joke that I have a closet full of, size 2 to 4 and size 10 to 12. And I used to just swing half a year here, half a year there. I'd swing up and down in my weight. And I can honestly say that I've kept my weight steady at this, give or take some muscle mass, at this poundage for easily the last 5 years. So I'm going to, my journey to find answers on how to mitigate my pain, balance my weight, and keep my immune system happy has been, it's a journey. It's not a destination. So this is your journey, and everyone's journey is different. So these are my dogs. This is Coco. She only has one eye because that border collie in the background took it out. But that's Lily in the background photobombing me here. So Coco's just giving me loving looks. So there was a study done on oxytocin. Oxytocin is the hormone of love. It's what is secreted by mommy and baby when mama's breastfeeding. It's what you get when you hug someone, and it's what you get when you're in love. It's one of the hormones of love that flood your brain and make you feel good. And they've proven that dogs and their owners, when they look into each other's eyes, they give each other oxytocin, which is awesome. Oh, let me back up here. Oh. So the struggle was real for me. Growing up ill was not fun. I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I still do, to be honest. I have a kind of a wonky immune system, and I'm pretty sure that my body can always handle my ambition, and it can't. So I've accepted that. I have to stay in pretty tight parameters with my diet and my lifestyle because my immune system will let me know very quickly. And for me, it manifests as pain. So the truth really was not to be found in the mainstream information. The books that I read and the Dr. Oz, the information we hear there, some of that's legitimate. But honestly, a lot of what you see on television and in popular magazines and books is just a bunch of nonsense. The truth really is that you have been lied to. You've been lied to for decades. It started with the whole fat phobia in the 80s and the statin drugs and big pharma coming in and deciding what and how we were going to manage health issues and making up some health conditions that aren't really real. So the news and books and nonsense you have been fed about pain reduction and weight loss is mostly nonsense. I know there's some good information coming out on the internet now, which is great. I think the last 5 years we've seen a boom of great info, but it can be confusing to navigate. So, what I want people to understand is that there is a simpler way, and we hope to share some of those simple processes with you today. Pain reduction does not come from a pill. Pills can help. Herbal supplements help. There's all kinds of things I take to help. Fish oil, curcumin, etc. But pain reduction comes from how you live your life every single day, choices you make every single day. It comes from how you move your body properly, not overdoing it, not underdoing it. It comes from how you sleep and rest your body, and it comes from the people you surround yourself with. You are the direct reflection and result of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with, I'll be out, it never ceases to amaze me. I'll be out and I hear a table full of people my age, I'm in my 40s, talking about, they're just sharing their misery cluster. It's like, oh, well, I have this and I'm on this medication and I blew out this disc and now I have this issue, and they just go on and on about all the things that are wrong with them and and it's almost like they're trying to one up each other. And it never ceases to amaze me that's not the way you talk to yourself if you want to actually win. So it comes from the people you surround yourself with. Do you have people that support you? Do you have spouses that are supportive? Do you have children that are supportive? That is really what makes or breaks people's success with this. So ironically, fat loss comes from the same places. It's the same process for inflammation. It's the same process for brain disease or heart disease. So go figure. It is actually that simple. The tools that you use to reduce your pain are the same tools you use to reduce your fat layer. So, and it's the same to reduce your inflammation. The bottom line is most all of this is coming from inflammation. People are on fire. They're a hot mess. Their bodies are on fire. Their brains are on fire. And we're seeing a lot of this in society and how the choices people are making. So this is me doing Pilates a couple years ago and upside down push-up on the chair, which I love. So don't wish for it, work for it. That's the key. You have to work for it, and you have to work for it every day. And you have to surround yourself with people who will motivate you. So Hannah and I work together and we are constantly motivating each other. We're constantly keeping each other honest and in check. And, if she's being really particular about her diet and keeping clean eating on the forefront and exercising regularly, and I'm slacking, I notice it. She calls me out on it and vice versa. So, and she's much younger than me, so I have to keep up with her. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, let me come over for a second. I guess my 2 cents on that would be, you need accountability. Like, it is one of the most important things. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to support you. I know that even though I'm a trainer and Dr. Tina and I, we both live healthy lifestyles, like she said, we both call each other out when we see that we're slacking off. And that brings us back around. So, and that's what we want to try to do with you guys, is we want to give you that accountability. As a trainer, that's what I was to people. I was teaching them, but I was also their accountability. Sometimes they would text me and be like, hey, like, I really want this donut right now. And it's just like, no, like, don't do it. So they needed to lean on me for that. So accountability is important.
Yes. And positive people.
Yes.
Not negative drama people. Keep the drama low. Truthfully, when you are experiencing an emotion, I was just talking with my friend last night, if you're experiencing anger or frustration or whatever the emotion is that you're having about an issue that already happened in the past, you cellularly are going through the exact same response as if it were happening in real time. So if it's grief, if it's anger, if you get angry over something that has already happened that you have no control over, that's just perpetuating inflammation and dumping out your immune system, which is going to keep you fat and in pain, flat out. So they did a study where they looked at couples who fought all the time, and they found that for 3 to 4 hours post-fight, their inflammation skyrocketed and their immune system tanked. So if you're fighting with your partner 3 or 4 times a day, you are in a chronic, constant pain cycle and immune suppression cycle. So don't wish for it, work for it, and we're here to help you do that. We can only give you the information. I can't hold your hand. I can't do it for you. So you have to do the work. You have to put in the time. You have to make the changes in your lifestyle. And that sometimes is a big overhaul for people. And you have to stick to the changes in your daily life. This is a daily process. Much like people have a daily practice of prayer, this is a daily process. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm going to give you some good info today. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. But this is what I'm telling you is I didn't make this up. But here's the bottom line. There is no magic pill. There is no special shake. There is no secret diet. Don't buy into any of that for 2016. Just get off your ass, first of all. Movement is medicine and motion is lotion. And just the simple act of moving will decrease your pain. I see it over and over again. Do not be afraid to move. We're going to show you how to move properly. We have some resources for that we'll get into later. So truth bomb number 1, it has everything to do with your diet. And I don't have time to get into how to eat properly exactly. So I'm going to give you the quick and dirty overview. Your food pyramid that we've been looking at for decades is wrong with the 11 servings of grains and, breads, etc. And then at the very top, the tiny little fat triangle, flip it on itself. That's actually how you should be eating. Refined carbohydrates, not fats, are the real problem. Studies came out this year, finally. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime, but finally proving that fat is not the enemy. Cholesterol is not the enemy. In fact, you make all your hormones out of cholesterol. So sugar is Satan, flat out. Sugar is inflammatory. It's bad news. Refined carbohydrates basically break down into sugar. So those two, get them out of there. And then fat is your friend. The fat phobia we have, and this is probably the biggest paradigm shift for my patients. I watch the 2 lobes of their brain fight when I tell them this, but healthy, non-inflammatory fats, you got to eat a ton of them. Fat keeps you thin, honestly. High-fat diets are the way to go for brain protection and for keeping your body composition in check. So what if I told you that your pain had everything to do with your food choices? And that is the truth. This is 99% of the problem. So quick overview. Eat this, not that. I love that book. That's the worst book because the information's completely wrong. It was a good effort, but when you read it, it's like, no, actually, you shouldn't eat most of the things he's suggesting. But what you do want to do is focus on things you can eat. And if you eat those in good quantities to fill yourself up, you won't have room for all the crap and the junk and the refined carbs. So my goal is to give my patients things to eat, not take away things. Grass-fed, hormone-free meats and dairy is going to be a huge part of it. I would say somewhere between, ratio-wise, I just tell people to go, if they're trying to build muscle, and a lot of patients are protein starved, honestly, and that's why they hurt. We see a lot of women in here in particular that are postmenopausal and have just been self-starving. They eat like a chicken breast a week and they hurt from tip to toe, and putting a needle in them is not a good idea. What I try to do is get them to eat, and this is going to sound like a lot, but as a goal, most people can't achieve it. I even have a very hard time, a gram of protein per pound of body weight, which seems like a lot. A chicken breast is about 30 grams. So put a chicken breast on your plate, put a bunch of leafy greens on your plate, get some good healthy fats. That's your meal. And you want to make sure it's grass-fed and hormone-free. It's important because these animals are pumped full of hormones, and when they're commercially raised, their fat is inflammatory. When they are grass-fed, their fat is anti-inflammatory. In fact, a grass-fed cow will have the same omega ratio as wild salmon. So it's important. It's more important than eating organic produce. Healthy fats are critical, and part of those healthy fats are coming from these healthy grass-fed protein sources. So coconut oil, avocado, walnuts, etc. Butter, pastured butter is wonderful. Organic leafy greens, your microbiome needs it. The fiber is great for you. There's very mineral dense. When people have adequate minerals, they feel much better and their pain is much lower. Plant-based carbohydrates are great, so that would be vegetables. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of fruits. I think that they're too sugary. I think way too much sugar content. So I say berries are okay. Although I've had patients, I say you can have a cup of berries a day and they eat like 5 cups a day and then they derail and they wonder what's wrong because they're sugar addicts. So, a half cup to a cup of berries a day is a great treat. Whip up some full fat coconut milk, throw it on top. You've got a delicious dessert. If you need something sweeter than that, you probably have a problem. Nuts are okay, but again, in moderation. Again, I'll tell people nut butter is okay, and they'll eat a whole jar of nut butter a day and wonder why they feel horrible. So legumes are not always great. Some nuts are not always great. I don't want to get into that today, but nuts, I would say about 15 or a handful of nuts a day seems to be acceptable. And there's good minerals in nuts and good nutrients there. So the cardinal rule is to shop only the periphery of the grocery store. So if you go into a grocery store, go all the way around the edges and see everything that's sold there. Those are going to be the whole foods. That's what you want. You want to eat food that looks how it came out. Does it look like a dead animal piece? Yes. Does it look like it grew off the ground or out of the ground or off a tree? Yes. You can eat that. If it comes out of a package or has a long ingredient list, you probably shouldn't be eating it. I don't care if it says gluten-free and organic and vegan or whatever. It's still refined processed carbohydrate usually. So if you go into the middle of the store, it's just a bunch of crap. Honestly, there's very little in the middle of the store besides certain fats and oils that I ever even want to get into. So avoid the refined carbohydrates. And if you don't know what those are, go online and do a little nutrition 101. And we're going to talk about a program that we offer that will give you the breakdown of this. Commercially raised meats and dairies, like I said, are very inflammatory. Sugar and hidden sugars. Hidden sugars are everywhere. And when people start paying attention, they're shocked at where they find them. Ketchup, barbecue sauce, lots of the condiments that we put on our food and things, not so much spices are not full of sugar, but I even have a tea that I got for Christmas that's packed full. I was like, oh, this is delicious. And it's got white chocolate in it. Of course it's delicious. So, you have to be savvy. Juices and many fruits, not a huge fan. I think juices is just a condensed form of sugar. When would you ever eat 15 oranges in one sitting? But a glass of orange juice has about the juice of 15 oranges without any of the fiber or pulp. So think about it that way. Maybe a small little bit, or mixing that with mineral water, I think is an excellent idea. That way you get your own little sodas that you can make. And then packaged or processed foods, probably out. Another rule is if there's more than 5 ingredients on the list, or if there's ingredients I can't pronounce, I don't eat it. And then the entire middle of the grocery store. Go look at the soda aisle. It's enormously long, and that's why we have an obesity and diabetes epidemic in our country. So get to know the glycemic index of your carbohydrates, and you can just do a simple Google search to understand what that is. And I tend to just eat on the low side of the glycemic index. I do not restrict my carbohydrates. I just keep them on the low end of the glycemic index. Here's the bottom line. You have to earn your carbs. And what does that mean? You have to put in the right kind of exercise to have your metabolism working and primed in such a way that you can handle your carbohydrates. And some people simply cannot. And there's no way to know. I'm pretty good at spotting it in people just by the way their body composition is. If you have a belly, you have a blood sugar problem flat out, and you probably shouldn't be eating carbs, or you should be eating very low. I can't tell without looking at blood work, though, comprehensive blood work. So your blood sugar reading is just a snapshot in time. It's not enough to tell you anything. So if your doctor said, oh, you're fine because we checked your glucose, fasting glucose is not the answer. Some people can't even look at a prune without trouble, and others can gorge themselves on carbs and be fine. So I'll tell you, the more I've strength trained and the more I've gotten my metabolism balanced, the more carbohydrate I can eat, which is awesome without gaining any weight. But back in the day, I come from a long line of pre-diabetic and diabetic family members and with bellies. And, I would eat just a little bit of carb and the belly started packing on. Metabolisms do break. And I've seen this in multiple patients, and it's really a tragedy. But I got to say, once that switch has been blown and that metabolism is broken, you might be a carb-free person for life. And I don't mean completely carbohydrate-free. That's another discussion about ratios and how much you should eat. But it's something to consider because people don't really seem to understand the impact that it's having on them. So sugar is Satan, flat out. There's no way around it. Sugar addiction is real. The struggle is real for people. Certain drugs will upregulate certain neurotransmitters in your brain. So people who have a preference for marijuana or for wine or for whiskey or for other drugs, it's hitting a neurotransmitter that they're low in. Sugar hijacks your whole brain. It lights up the entire brain. It hits all the neurotransmitters. It is crack, basically. And I think, truthfully, the only way to quit it is to quit it. Just quit it. You don't do a 10-day sugar detox. I love that there's certain doctors out there selling that right now, and that's a great idea. It's 21-day sugar detox. Like, how about you just quit sugar and get over it? It's not easy. The struggle is real. You might suffer for a few days, but the more you suffer, the more you are addicted, and it's a real addiction. So Dr. Daniel Amen writes some wonderful books about brain health, and I would encourage you to read anything he's written, but he has a great acronym called HALT. So before you reach for sugar, think of these 4 things. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Or are you tired? And honestly, that's usually what you're going for. You're trying to blast your brain with something, and you're one of these 4 things. So worth considering. That's usually when I tell people to go to bed. Honestly, that's usually when. And note this, alcohol is sugar. Sugar addicts can easily be alcoholics, and alcoholics are sugar addicts. It's one and the same. And so I always tell people, if you're going to quit sugar, that might be all you take from this webinar is a 2016 resolution to give up sugar for 3 months and see how you feel. But I would encourage you highly to give up alcohol at the same time. You cannot do one without the other, because alcohol just turns into sugar in your body, and it's a poison. It's sad but true. It's handled by your body as a poison. So if you feel very hungover after you drink, it's because your body is not handling poisons very well. So truth bomb number 2, muscles are the fountain of youth. So there's not enough time to get into the debate of steady state cardio versus strength training today, but I will tell you that the most surefire way to success in body composition is to have a single goal to build skeletal muscle. It is the quickest way to balance your hormones. It balances your immune system. It balances your body composition. It balances your brain chemistry and your pain. And all of this is accomplished through regular strength training, which doesn't take very much time out of your week. And the results are amazing overall. So I have not found anything as powerful as lifting weights besides food. That is medicine. That is potent, good use of your time medicine. And the goal always is to add lean skeletal muscle mass. Hannah and I are so tired of women talking about weight loss and fat loss. And I hate to use those words, and I'm upset that I even put them in here, but that's what people need to hear to catch their ear, because that's where their head's caught up. We really focus on strength gaining. We just want people to get strong and build muscle mass. And when you do, your body composition changes and you lose weight. You know, you build muscle and the fat starts burning off by itself.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in. Ooh,
sorry
about that. So with training, people would always, and I mean, I do too. I get really frustrated when, like, I'm not seeing any changes. But they do come. You have to be consistent with it, and it takes time, just like healing takes time.
Yeah.
And the more muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn. And then for me personally, once I started focusing on actually gaining strength rather than losing weight, all of a sudden, all of my goals, I was able to achieve them just because I switched my focus. So sometimes that's all you need to do. You just need to switch your focus, and then all of a sudden you're going to love the way you look and feel. Yeah. So it's important.
And the other thing about it is being strong. It's funny because, you know, if you have a little belly or you have a little something here or there, you don't like the cellulite on your thighs, or, you know, we all have something. You kind of start not giving a damn when you get strong.
Yeah.
You build some muscles and you bust out some pull-ups and push-ups, and you are so much, you know, I used to be this scrawny little skinny fat girl who had no strength at all. I spent decades that way, and all I did was hurt and hurt and hurt, because when you have no muscle mass, you're hanging off your ligaments and tendons, which are highly innervated. That is probably what's wrong with the bulk of most of our patients, I would say, is they come in and they're completely deconditioned, and they're hanging off of their spine and their joints. So their joints are starting to fall apart. And you hurt when that happens. So when you're strong and your pain's low and your body fat is, who cares, really? You know, you get to a point where you're like, my clothes fit nice. Mm-hmm. I'm not shoving into anywhere here or there. I'm not busting my belt loop. I feel good, you know, and you kind of quit caring so much.
Yeah, and I would say, just like I said before, the focus it switches over. Now it's just like, how much can I bench today?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Rather than like, oh, how does my belly look today?
Right.
So it's a complete game changer, I'm telling you.
And it's as much mental strength as it is physical strength. So the beauty of all this is that muscles eat fat. So when you strength train, you get what's called afterburn, and those muscles, the more muscle you build, that muscle burns fat for hours and hours and hours after you do your workout. So you're getting the benefit of the workout, but you're getting the afterburn for hours. When you do cardio, the only benefit you get is during that time period of doing the cardio. When you do cardio, by the way, and you feel you self-starve and you feel that you've lost weight and you're in a smaller size, all you are is a smaller version of that mess. So if your body composition is such that you're skinny fat or you're fat, all you've done is probably lost more muscle mass than you realize. And if you were 50% fat and 50% lean muscle mass, or, other structures of your body, all you've done is created a smaller version of that. It's still the same ratios, and those ratios are still metabolically unhealthy, and they're still causing blood sugar issues. So something to keep in mind. Muscles process toxins, much like your kidney and livers. You only have one. They secrete hormones, which is amazing. They make anti-inflammatory molecules, which blows me away. The same molecules in your body that are inflammatory when produced by other parts of your body, when produced by your muscles, they're anti-inflammatory, which is fantastic. So it's a little generator of hormones and detox and anti-inflammatory goodness. And they hold you together. So, you're harder to kill if you're strong. And what we tell patients is strength training is non-negotiable. This is not something this is just like diet is non-negotiable. Strength training is non-negotiable if you want to lose weight, change your body composition, and decrease your pain. So all cardio does is make you better at cardio. Fitness is not a luxury, it's a necessity. I don't know, there was a time back in the day when everybody was being physically fit was important. And we've really lost that as a society, which I think is unfortunate. And that's why we have so much pain and so much obesity and diabetes. So truth bomb number 3 is really simple. And this is something that all of you can do so easily. Hydration is 70% of the equation. And why do I say that? Because your body is easily 70% water. That means that 70% of what is going on inside of your body with your joints and your pain and your fat is water. So you have to drink enough water to get things moving. 3 liters a day is minimum. And studies show that fat loss happens at that level. So it's not literally flushing the fat out. That's nonsense if you ever hear about fat flushes. But drinking that much water helps you cellularly process things in a way that the manufacturing plants, your cells are moving, and you will be way more prone to lose weight than if you were chronically dehydrated, which most people are chronically dehydrated. We see their blood all the time when we do PRP, platelet-rich plasma on them, and they are dehydrated. They think they're not, but especially men.
Yeah.
So I suggest, and this is not a hard and fast rule, but I suggest a goal of body weight. So your body weight, say you weigh 125 pounds, I want you to drink 125 ounces in water. If you are obese and you're up in the 200s, then clearly you can't drink that much water, and that's not a good idea. You can overdose on water, so we don't want you to, drink too much and kill yourself or make yourself sick. But 3 liters a day is minimum. And that's easy enough to do. And we all have our drink out of metal, not plastic. Plastic is horrible, and we will share with you why in another program. But drink out of metal or glass. And just keep this and just fill this up all day. If you get this done at work, most people just say, I have like a liter bottle at work. I fill it up and drink it 3 times. I'm good. So if you go home, anything else on top of that is gravy.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to chime in here for a second. Something that we have always noticed at the clinic is people, because one of our rules is to drink a gallon of water or as much as you can before getting a procedure done. And usually what we find is patients, they come in and it's like, how are you feeling? And they're like, oh, I feel great. My joints actually feel great. So it's interesting to see how much they're dehydrated, number one, but how much it helps them. Dr. Tyna, you can probably explain just a little bit more about cartilage and stuff.
I think that's my next slide. Here's your little water friend. Print him off and put him on your wall. Hello, friend. You should drink more water. So here's the deal. When it comes to pain, your joints need to be juicy. And this is what Hannah was alluding to. So your cartilage, which is your cushion and your joints, is a proteoglycan layer. What that means is it's gel, and it's mostly water with some sugars molecules in there holding it together. It's a gelatinous structure. So think of a sponge. If you watch SpongeBob and you've seen him dry out, you can't function. We love SpongeBob.
Yes, we do.
So it's a gelatinous structure. When it dries out, when your collagen and cartilage dry out, and this is your face, your skin, your whole body's made out of collagen. When it dries out and becomes dehydrated, it becomes weak and less plump. If we're talking about cartilage, it actually starts to wear away way more readily than if it had the integrity of being that watery gelatinous cushion. So, cartilage is basically a gel layer, and you need to hydrate a gel layer to keep it as a gel. When people come in and say, I'm bone on bone, first of all, they're not alone. Everyone who comes in here is bone on bone. They wouldn't be here otherwise, because we specialize in regenerative injection therapies. But half the battle is just getting them hydrated, and it makes like she said, it makes an amazing difference. So thinned out, dehydrated collagen and cartilage hurts, and it degenerates faster and causing painful joints, saggy skin, and wrinkles. So if you want an anti-aging ticket, lift weights, eat clean, and drink enough water. It's very simple. And FYI, alcohol and sugar, back to the sugar is Satan, they dry out and damage your collagen and cartilage more quickly. So if you're drinking a lot and you're eating a lot of sugar, and I would say 50% of the people who walk in this door are sugar addicts, at least 50%, if not more. But I call them out on it. I can see it under ultrasound. I can see by looking at their tissues what they're eating, if you can believe it. So, okay, truth bomb number 4. Sleep is everything. This is something that is completely in your control, and it is everything. Without sleep, none of the other things work. Nothing else works. Adults need 7 to 8 hours minimum, and children, we are really depleting our children of sleep. They need 9 to 11 hours minimum. So that little hand button, raise your hand and tell me how many of you are getting 7 to 8 hours minimum of sleep. And we'll wait and see. And there's okay, Anya. Hi, Anya. Yay. Anya's my dear friend and colleague. She's getting enough. So I'm surprised she has a young child at home too. So yeah, there's a lot of people are not raising their hands. So it's hard to do. I have a struggle, the struggle is real, and I encourage everybody to just try to set it aside. I have the vampire syndrome. I wake up, if I stay awake past 10 or 10:30, this happens to a lot of people because of your neurotransmitters, the way that you're wired individually. You suddenly get very creative and an energy surge, and then you're up all night. So getting to bed before that witching hour is critical, and it'll make a huge impact on your pain. One of the things I first started doing as a student in school was getting people to sleep. I would drug them with herbs. I would use some kind of herbal sleep remedy, which we have several we love here. And I would have them put on an eye mask and earplugs and kick everybody out of the room, tell them to go sleep in a different room. And after 3 to 4 nights, complete change in their pain patterns. So that's something you can do and share with people that makes a big difference if people are getting enough sleep. And if they're not, 1 to 2 to 3 nights of sleep deprivation, and things start getting weird for people. So there's no getting around this. You can't cheat on it, and you can't make up on it. So your room needs to be dark and quiet. There's a whole sleep hygiene thing that we tell patients, and we have programs for that too that we'll discuss. It needs to be dark and quiet. It needs to be like a tomb. So sleep is your best friend and ally. It's such a powerful medicine. Lack of sleep has been linked to conclusively obesity, diabetes, chronic pain, depression, prone to accidents, cancer, and early death. And I think about my friend several of my friends who are construction workers, and they are up at the crack of dawn, and they're going to bed late at night, and they're working with machinery and big things. And I can't imagine that that's safe. So accident prone and any of you who have had children know the struggle is real after about a month of sleep deprivation with a newborn, and you're hallucinating. So here's another poll for you. I'm going to put up, which of these 4 things that I've talked about, diet, strength training, hydration, and sleep, do you struggle with the most? So let me get this poll. So go ahead and just click off one of those, and I'll let you know what people are saying. Oh, hey, Zach. Oh, 2 of my best friends are on here. Zach, raise your hand. I will high five you if I could. Is that Justin, your husband?
It is.
Oh, Hannah's husband is here. So I think the bulk of, it's actually split fairly evenly, and same as yesterday across the board between the 4. People are saying about 20 to 30% on each one. It seems like strength training tends to be the one that people are having the toughest time with. We'll tell you, we had a lot of questions yesterday about this too. You really need to hire a trainer and work with somebody, period. We're going to talk to you a little bit about a program we are offering, but it's just the building blocks. It's just the beginning. So I'm going to close the poll. You got to be safe. Once you learn it, once you're safe, it's a whole new world. But until then, you can really cause yourself some problems. So depending on what kind of injuries and pain you have, you're an individual. You need individual attention. And it is not a go to a class with 50 other people. It's go hire a trainer one-on-one. Best money spent. Best money hands down. I still work with a trainer. I work with Hannah. I have another trainer on the side. Best money spent. It's just part of my budget. And I know it sounds expensive, but it's something that I prioritize. So there's a lot of things I don't do that I'm sure a lot of you do socially that I don't do. I just go to my trainer instead. I use my money for that. So, oops.
I'm going to chime in with something about that. Yeah. Just in training. Let me come over here. Just with training, make sure that you know if they're a good trainer. You can get certifications over the weekend, and technically you can be a trainer.
Yeah.
So don't be shy about asking what their credentials are. I mean, for me, I have my bachelor's of science in exercise science. So, I mean, I had a 4-year degree, but I mean, like I said, you can get a weekend certification for training, and you don't want to be training with those people because they're not going to have all the education and the background experience. So don't be shy to ask what your trainer's credentials are and base your decision off of that.
Yeah, for sure. And I tell patients too, I encourage people, I feel like I'm in a sitcom. I encourage patients very often to go work with specific trainers that I like versus physical therapists. Not that I don't love physical therapists, but some people, I just need them to get strong. They are not in such a place that they need physical therapy. They need to start lifting, and they need to lift heavy, and they need to do it safely and with the right guidance. And they don't need any more diagnoses. A lot of people love to hang their hats on their diagnosis. Oh, I have this. Oh, I have pelvic instability. Oh, I have, my chiropractor said this, and my naturopath said this, and my physical therapist said this. Great. The bottom line is you have pain and you're deconditioned. So working with somebody like Hannah, or somebody who knows what they're doing, who has good, adequate training. Did you mention that you have a 4-year degree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So makes all the difference. It's a lot cheaper than going to the doctor. So think of it that way. Some people love to come pay me thousands of dollars to inject them, but they don't want to pay for a trainer. It doesn't make any sense to me. So here's your to-do list. Quit sugar. If that's all you do in 2016 is lay off the sugar, you will be amazed at the changes that you see. And I would encourage you to include alcohol with that. Really focus on eating more healthy fats and proteins. And I'll add leafy greens to that. Focus there. You won't have enough room in your stomach to radiate towards the crap that you shouldn't be eating. So start weight training, strength training 3 to 4 times a week. That might be a little much for you. You might do 3 times a week for 20 minutes. And there are so many great videos out. And you can start with dumbbells. You can start with body weight. We are going to share with you a program where we actually start you with the very minimum basics so that you have enough core integrity that you can stand up and start doing body weighted movements. So consider that as and the sanity that it brings. It's truly therapy. I mean, without it, we are not nice people. You get a great dopamine and GABA boost, and you feel good for days. So drink your body weight in water if you can. If you're, over 150 pounds, that's probably asking too much. So at least get your 3 liters in, and then set up your bedroom for proper sleep and schedule proper sleep time. The bedroom is to be used for sex and sleep. The bedroom is not to be used for watching television or watching upsetting news late at night or MMA fights late at night. It is for sleeping or sex. It's not a hangout room. It's not have all the kids come in and I know people love to have their kids in their bed with them, but sleep is the key. And that's what the bedroom's for.
It should be your oasis.
Yes, it should be your oasis. So it takes 90 days for me to see changes on labs. Period. I don't test earlier than that. I also see that it takes 90 days for people to see changes in their body composition once they start strength training. So they will start to actually gain muscle under that fat layer, and they will physically get bigger, and they get very discouraged. I did it. I was bulking up. I was not happy about it. I just kept getting told by Hannah and by my trainer to trust the process. And eventually at about 90 days, whoop, the fat layer just burns off. And all of a sudden you have a waist. And I have a waist for the first time in my life. I've always, carried my weight in my abdomen, and you create shoulders and glutes, and it looks like you even have more of a waist. So it takes 90 days for both. So give yourself time and patience. We have a 4-week program we're going to share with you to get you started. And I think that that's critical to get on the road, but you got to trust the process and give yourself a few months. People give up much too quickly when they don't see the changes that they're looking for in a short amount of time. Healing takes time. Changes take time. So Looking for some help is what we hear most people say. They don't know what to do. These are big changes for a lot of people, and they're not really quite sure what to do. So there's me squatting. I love squatting. I love deadlifting and squatting. I love that barbell. I would name it and carry it around with me if I could. It is my sanity. So we have a 4-week program we developed. We really find that we need, with patients, it takes 4 to 5 visits before they even start to click. So, and they're spending an hour with me at a much higher rate than what we wanted to do is just create something that was accessible and affordable for people so that we could help hundreds of people all at once, create a community, create a group of people working together. And we're just the cheerleaders. We're not going into fine detail. We're going to cover the basics that I just talked about, plus much more in greater detail, explain to you the whys of it and the hows. And then we're going to create, Hannah and I are going to create with you, we're going to show you and demo it, very specific, simple exercises that you start with. This is how you start so that you know that you have pelvic and core integrity and that you're not going to hurt yourself. And then from there, you can move forward. And that would be the time to hire a trainer. So it's 4 webinars over 4 weeks. We're going to meet with you Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And we will record it. If you can't make that time period, you can watch it later on. But it's a 4-week program where we're with you for once a week for an hour through January. Why is this important? Accountability, like Hannah said, is critical. People make New Year's resolutions all the time and break them all the time. People don't know where to start. People feel overwhelmed. We're going to take you step by step through the process so that you don't feel overwhelmed. So there's other people online with you that you can chat with, or we can even make a Facebook group. I was thinking about that. We should, where we just invite that core group of people where people can communicate and have questions fielded. But it's important that you have some accountability. And so if you're meeting with us once a week for a month, it takes 21 days for any habit to be changed, at least 21 days. So we're giving you 30 days at least. And by then, you're going to be well on your way to your resolutions for 2016. And hopefully your pain will have started to dial down. We're going to give you those weekly exercises. They're going to build upon each other. So it's baby steps, but we're going to get you started. So the dates are starting Wednesday, January 6th, and then again on the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. So don't worry if you can't make it at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We will record it, and we will provide PDFs. We're going to give you handouts. We'll get you the information that you need. It's all online. You can do it from the comfort of your computer anywhere. That's the beauty. You can be traveling. It doesn't matter. You can still get the information you need. So it's the Pain Free and Lean 2016 4-week jumpstart. Just to give you an idea, if you were to have a first office visit with me, it's $295. Follow-up visits, if you were to have this many visits with me, you'd be well over $1,000. The cost of nutritional counseling with Hannah is well over $400 for this many visits. The cost of personal training with her would be $400. So it's far above this number, but at least $1,000 you're looking at value. And we're trying to do it for $199 so that we can access and give as many people the support that they need. This is my dog Coco again. And she's part Schipperke, and this cracks me up. She's a Schipperke Chihuahua, and Schipperkes smile. They have a thing where they smile. And if you Google Schipperke smile, you'll see tons of pictures of little black dogs, but she's not growling. She's not mad. She's excited. And she's trying to show me her pretty toothy smile. So that's it. There you go. We're going to provide you the link if you're interested in this 4-week program. We have a bunch of people that signed up yesterday. I'm really excited. Some of them are my patients who live out of town. So I'm really excited to be able to get them the information that they need that I wasn't able to provide because they don't live here. So this is really fun for me. Some of these people are new people that we've never met. Some are my friends actually. So I'm really excited. If you're interested, we will get the link to you. We're going to replay this video on YouTube, so the link will be below, but we'll make sure that we have it for you. And it's something that can be accessed after the date. We're going to record them all and provide them for purchase after the date, even if it's months from now. So do you guys have any questions? I want to field some questions here and see if I can get some answers for you. I know we've gone over on time, but there were some great questions yesterday I'm going to mention, and if there's some that we can get today. I'm getting a text message here. Let's see if this is a question. That's for you. Okay. So let's see. I'll talk some that we liked yesterday. What kind of exercises should I do? That was a big one. that again, I don't know you, and I don't know what your functional movement patterns are, and I don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are. I don't know what your functional faults are. So that's very difficult to do over the internet without you hiring Hannah. Hannah can do long distance consults, but what we want to do with this 4-week program is make sure these are the basics. This is the stuff I do for every workout. When I warm up, I still do the basics. You cannot do any sport or activity without having the foundation. And so what we're going to show you is the critical, at least 8 exercises that you need to be doing on a regular basis to keep your core and your flexibility going. So it's hard to say what kind of exercises you should do right off the bat. So another question that I got was sleep. Yesterday, somebody asked about sleep. They can't stay asleep at night. I will tell you that getting to sleep at night or staying asleep at night are 2 very different issues. And we're going to address that in the 4-week program and give you more information about that and how to deal with that. But it's really, again, various reasons. There's different causes for that. So that's a great question. And then John is asking, how does the webinar series work? So again, it's 4 weeks. You meet with us 1 hour a week for the month of January, hopefully really getting you on the road to your resolutions, helping you with your pain, helping you with weight loss. And there will be question and answer time in each webinar. So we'll be able to get some great information, and we'll hang on the line longer than an hour if we need to get those questions out to people. So that's basically how it works. You can be in Istanbul and access it, and we'll make it available in a recording after the fact. So let's see, another question here. So Mike is asking, would acupuncture help him for his pain? That is a great question. I love acupuncture. I do what's called prolotherapy and platelet-rich plasma. I treat ligaments and tendons and arthritic joints. You can find out more about that on my website. It's a really wonderful treatment, especially for active people or people who have too much pain to get active. We have a lot of people calling about that. And really, if we can get their pain down with some of these treatments, they can start moving again. And if they start moving, they start feeling better. And the pain is reduced because of the movement, and the weight starts coming off, which further reduces the pain. Acupuncture is great. We have an acupuncturist here, Dr. Beverly Butler. She's excellent. We also have a naturopath here who does that naturopathic work. She does the hormones and the general care and the gut issues. Your gut has everything to do with your pain levels too. So Dr. Sarah Wood, and you can find out more information about both of them on our website. It's drtyna.com, drtyna.com. You can find out all about our clinic. So, Anya's asking a great question. Can you do this weight training program in pregnancy? Yes. What we're going to show you is critical during pregnancy, really, to be honest. That's a great question, Anya. Having a good pelvic floor and a good core during pregnancy is everything. It's everything how you carry it. It's everything how you push that baby out. And it's everything to do with how you recover. I see a lot of this diastasis recti where the abdominal wall separates during pregnancy. I really want to blame, in most cases, I know that it does happen to very fit women as well, but I want to blame a lot of that on deconditioning. Mm-hmm. Their transverse abdominis is not working in the first place. Then they go and get pregnant, stretch it all out, and boom, they've got a diastasis recti. So yeah, what we're going to show you, you can do it these are the exercises I give 85-year-old patients. So we're going to start you on the floor and we're going to progress you to standing, just as I would rehab anybody. So these are going to be great tools for you to have in your bag. So let's see. Oh, another question somebody asked, let's see, I'm getting a couple of them here. So when you're counting that water, the 3 liters of water, they want to know, do other beverages count? And I would say no.
Yeah. Do you want me to chime in?
Yeah, I would say no. I would say water is water and everything else is everything else.
Yeah, I mean, even like we both love coffee, but coffee does dehydrate you. So I always make up that water intake just because it is taking to diuretic. You're getting rid of the water. So I always try to replenish it.
Yeah.
And it's just simple. Like the slide said, 70% of your body. So why wouldn't you drink water?
Yeah. Hannah's the water queen. I have to keep up with her. She doesn't mess around. When she first started coming to work for me, she had this like giant gallon size thing. So yeah, no, coffee, tea, alcohol, juices, that doesn't count. Those are great. I mean, I don't love juices and I don't love alcohol, but that doesn't count as your water intake. So let's see. I think that's all from what we got. Was there any from yesterday that were great?
I Yeah, I guess there was one about strength training and hello. There was one about strength training and yoga. Like,
oh yeah, does that count?
Yeah. And both Dr. Tina and I, we we might do yoga maybe once a week, and that's just a stretch, just kind of if we're feeling really tight. But you don't want to be too flexible either.
No. And hanging off your ligaments.
No.
Oh boy, do we see a lot of that. Hanging off their ligaments,
Unfortunately.
like massively overstretching joint capsules and ligaments and wondering why they don't have integrity there anymore.
Yeah,
and that's all they're doing is yoga. Yoga is awesome, and it does create a level of strength that is fairly unmatched. But especially if you've got pelvic or lumbar issues, some of those positions, doing that repeatedly throughout the week, you're really just overstretching ligaments if you don't have the underlying muscular integrity. And to add to that, I am so much stronger in yoga now that I am strong, period. Instead of struggling through it as much, I am not as flexible. I will give that. That's my own fault. But I am so much stronger. When I go to sprint or run now, I have way more stamina than I did.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we're talking just once in a while. We're not big cardio fans. But being strong translates into a lot of other parts of your life and a lot of other activities.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they just think that if they do body weight, then they'll be fine. And you're not going to get, I mean, you will get stronger to an extent, but your body is going to adapt to it. And that's what you need to start loading your body essentially with more weight. And that is what's going to get you stronger. And then, like you said, all of a sudden, yoga is going to be, it'll still be challenging, but it'll also be a lot easier. So yeah, that was a question.
Yep. Good question. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions here? We're not getting a lot of them today. Anyone? Zach, you want to ask anything? No? Okay. Let me see if there's anything else we missed. No, I think that was it for our questions from yesterday. We got some good ones, but yeah, we covered the important parts. That was the yoga one. So the bottom line is we recognize that this is hard. We recognize that this can be really overwhelming. I've met lots of people who I give them just this information in a nutshell, and they are looking at me like I am an alien. It's very overwhelming information for a lot of people. We are here to help. We are here to be accountable to you and to help walk you through this. And that is why we created this low-cost webinar series, because we want a lot of people to be able to access it. So we hope you'll join us. We hope that if you have interest, you'll ask us questions. You can email us. The email's on the website if you want more information about the program. But we've helped countless patients one-on-one, and we're really trying to reach out and help people en masse at this point. So do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we had a great time. Hannah's going to come say goodbye. I really feel like I'm in a sitcom. We need different camera angles. So, okay. Thank you so much, and happy 2016. If you need help, we're here. Let us know. And we hope you have a great new year. Be safe tonight. Don't drink and drive. Goodbye. Peace out.